In the year 1874, before the streets of London gleamed with modern lights, shadows were all we knew. But in those shadows, there were stories. Stories never spoken aloud, and names that were never forgotten. One name, above all others, Sebastian, Everett Crowe. Some call him a hero, others a sinner. But the truth lies somewhere in between. Sebastian was just a man, ordinary, simple, at least at first. He didn't choose the path he walked, or maybe the path chose him. His story isn't for the faint of heart. It's a story of curses, of shadows, of choices you would never dare to make. But if you truly wish to know, then listen closely, because this is a story you won't hear again. Sebastian Everett Crowe, the man who rewrote the laws of darkness. And here, before our very eyes, we open the diary of Sebastian, written when he reached the age of 70, after a long journey marked by disasters, adventures, and unforgettable tragedies. Let us begin with the very first pages of this living tale, revealing secrets of a life unlike any other.
London, 1872. Morning light crept slowly through the windows of my room, casting pale lines across the chaos scattered all around. Books lay open on the floor, some filled with hastily scribbled notes, others stacked like unstable towers, ready to collapse. Heavy curtains muffled the outside world, leaving the room half lit and half lost in mystery. From downstairs, a familiar voice pierced the stillness of the place.
Sebastian, dear, wake up. Don't let your eggs get cold.
I mumbled under my breath. My eyes opened slowly, staring up at the ceiling. My voice came out rough, laced with the sarcasm of sleep.
Even after earning my master's degree and receiving an honorary award, I'm still treated like a child. Ms. Duncan, oh, you will never change.
The fork scraped lightly against the porcelain plate as suddenly a knock at the door. Ms. Duncan shuffled to answer and returned with the morning paper in hand, fresh and folded. She placed it next to my plate with a smile. I flipped through it carelessly until something slid out from the middle. A letter. Not just any letter. It looked odd. Aged paper, uneven fold, and the handwriting familiar. I opened it.
The fox jumps over the moon, but the shadow chases the stars. Seriously, Jack?
I stared at it for a moment, then smiled. Of course, Jack. It must be one of his strange little games again. But something didn't feel right. A red stain on the edge of the paper, and the handwriting, Jack's handwriting, which I knew all too well. Something inside me felt uneasy, but I ignored it. Maybe because I wanted to believe it was just a joke, nothing more. And the next day I was explaining to my students how fairy tales were merely primitive attempts to understand things we had no scientific explanation for. That's what I always tell them. But who would have thought I'd one day find myself inside one? And one of my students raised his hand.
Professor Crowe, do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in a full English breakfast. As for ghosts, let's say I have my reservations.
But my mind wasn't fully there. That letter kept echoing in my thoughts. Every time I looked at the blackboard, I saw the bloodstain. Every time I spoke, I heard Jack's voice, whispering. After the lecture, I couldn't shake the worry. I went straight to my friend at the medical faculty, Dr. Edward Harris, a man with a thick mustache and a permanent smirk.
A sample? What is this? Have you taken up writing detective novels now?
Just a quick test, Edward. I need to know if this stain is blood.
He shook his head and laughed, then took the sample and said,
Let me guess. A love letter from some dramatic noblewoman?
By the following morning, I had convinced myself it was just another one of Jack's tricks, typical of him. And yet, he lingered in my mind all night long, like a shadow behind the door, quietly waiting for me to admit I'd misjudged everything. The next day, outside the lecture hall, as I spoke with a fellow professor, a staff member rushed up to me.
Dr. Crowe. A message from Dr. Harris. He said it was urgent.
I unfolded the note with hesitant fingers.
Apologies for the delay. I was tied up yesterday. I've tested the sample. It's blood. Human blood.
Blood.
After that, all my excuses vanished, just like that. Suddenly, I remembered the letter. It was written in code me and my brother Jack created in our childhood. It was...
The fox jumps over the moon, but the shadow chases the stars. He's being watched or hunted. So it wasn't a joke after all. It was a cry for help.
I entered Jack's house with a cold shiver running down my spine. Something felt off. No signs of forced entry, yet the front door wasn't properly closed. Inside, everything was in disarray. Papers on the floor, a broken cup on the table, half-shut curtains. At first, I thought Jack had left in a hurry, but the small drops of blood on the floor led me to a dark corner by the stairs, leading to the basement. I paused at a slightly larger, dried, dark stain.
Jack, are you here?
No response. I went upstairs, searching every room, until I entered his personal space, the one he guarded like a vault. I searched the drawers, under the bed, behind the wardrobe. Nothing, except for a single picture hanging above his bed. I stepped closer, moved it aside, and found nothing. I sighed in disappointment, stepping back. Then I remembered.
Wait, Jack loved invisible ink.
I grabbed a candle from the side table, lit it, and carefully passed it behind the picture. Slowly, the message appeared. It read,
The box is in the left ear of my head.
I knelt beside the left wooden bedpost, ran my fingers under it, until I found a loose piece of wood. I opened it, and there it was, a box. No dust on it. Inside were letters, maps, and recently written notes, all in Jack's handwriting.
My God, Jack, what were you trying to tell me?
Before I could read a word, the door burst open. Footsteps. Voices. I froze, then acted instinctively. I slid under the bed, hiding in the shadows. 3 men entered the room.
That bastard made us run all over the damn city.
Boss said to check the place, just in case he came back.
Screw that, let's just grab a beer. He's gone.
They laughed and left. I waited, then crept out silently. Suddenly I heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps on the old wooden stairs. They were slow, deliberate, the sound heavy in the stillness of the night. I froze, barely breathing, as the footsteps neared the door to my brother Jack's room. There was a creak as the door opened, followed by the soft sound of boots crossing the floor. The man entered with a sense of purpose, his movements quick yet controlled. His footsteps echoed in the silence, each one amplified in the quiet room. I could hear his breath, slightly labored as he moved. His boots thudded against the floor, each step deliberate, each movement filled with tension. The door had barely creaked shut before he started searching. His gaze darted across the room as if expecting something to appear out of the shadows, something hidden in the corners, something he could not see yet felt was there. The air was thick with the weight of his frustration. The sound of his boots was almost deafening as he walked around, pacing, looking, his eyes sharp, scanning every inch of the room. His hand brushed against the walls, the bed, and the floor, as though trying to find something, anything that would reveal the truth. But there was nothing, just silence.
Nothing. There's nothing here.
His boots scraped lightly across the floor as he began to walk away from the bed, his movement swift and sure. He moved toward the door, his presence heavy in the room, the tension palpable in the air. The door creaked open, the sound of his footsteps fading as he walked away, leaving behind the silence that had filled the room. I held my breath until I could hear nothing but the distant sound of his retreating footsteps. The door clicked shut, and with it, my heart finally began to settle. I was left in the stillness, my mind racing, filled with questions. What had he been looking for? What was he trying to find? I followed them only to see them climb into a carriage, then vanish into the dark street among the night mist. I couldn't catch up. I returned home with the box of the notes and other staff that I took from my brother's jack house, now knowing that something much bigger was starting. I arrived late, and I found Miss Duncan met me at the door.
Sir? What happened? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Miss Duncan, please, no questions. I can't speak now.
I went into my room and wrote a short letter, then I came back and handed it to her.
Please deliver this to the university administration tomorrow morning. I've requested a 2-week leave, and I don't want to be disturbed.
Then I closed the door behind me. I reopened the box, pulled out the first journal with trembling hands, and whispered,
If I can't find you through the police, I'll find you through your past.
In a world where truth wears the mask of madness, and shadows know your name before you speak it, Sebastian Crowe had just taken his first step into the unknown. What lies beyond that letter is not just a mystery, but a doorway. And some doors, once opened, can never be closed again, not without a price. So I ask you, are you ready to pay it?